Okay, I'm going to give a brief background about the Ugandan education and what the government has been trying to do lately, and yeah, what the government has tried to do, and how AI has affected the Ugandan universities or the quality of education in Uganda. I'm sitting in for the main presenter, who is not been able to do that. Um, the presentation structure will be like background, research questions, the methods we used, study findings, conclusion, contribution, and recommendation. And we added some references. Right? Now, promoting quality education is acknowledged globally, and this is one of the sustainable development goals, and it is for SDG 4, which emphasizes quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities. As such, including Uganda has tried to put up measures from primary to university by the government trying to introduce free education, partially free education, I should say, at primary level, through secondary level, through scholarships, loan schemes, and integrating technology also to facilitate this learning and teaching at all levels. Now, despite the interventions, it is very evident that we are struggling in Uganda. We are struggling with realizing the SDG 4, that is ensuring quality education. To start with, during the pandemic and after the lockdown, most of these schools closed down, so meaning that teachers and learners, most of them dropped out. The teachers became jobless, they joined informal jobs, and they left teaching, and the learners also dropped out of school. And basically, the learning environment after pandemic was left to be lacking. There's a gap, all right? 60% of the teachers in public schools and universities are also reported to dodge and to be absent from their duty stations. And as such, we really have a major gap in providing quality education, scholars to be present. We need to also reduce on the pupil-teacher ratio, also developing strategic plans and improving the working conditions to have quality education in Uganda. However, despite also all these so many challenges, with the introduction of artificial intelligence in the recent past, we do not have a documented evidence at the moment on how it can enhance quality education, particularly in Uganda. There is this introduction of artificial intelligence. We went out to find out majorly on the three specific research questions. What are the major AI tools that are mostly used in Ugandan universities? What challenges do students and lecturers face while applying artificial intelligence tools? How does the AI tools affect the quality of education in Uganda? So we went out to find the lived experiences at the moment, since it is a new innovation or introduction or a new learning, I should say, in Ugandan universities. We dealt with three major universities in Uganda, two private, rather two public universities, and one private university, Makerere and Chambogo universities being the government-owned universities, and Kampala International University being the private one. 35 students and lecturers from those universities were chosen, and a qualitative approach was used. Interviews were employed, and data was collected using recorders, notebooks, and cameras, and transcribed. And this is the findings from this particular research questions, specific questions we went out to find out. These are the results, these are the characteristics. Yeah. And that is the students, we're sitting faculty members, those are the lecturers, university, Makerere University and Chambogo, I said those are public universities, and then Kampala International University is a private one. So these are the things that really came out. The tools that were mainly being used were bad. At that time, it was not Gemini. The time we were running the interviews, so they were using bad. ChatGPT, which I should say bad is Gemini at the moment. ChatGPT, Ask AI, Snapchat A, Bard, Killboards, Questionnaire A. However, we noted that ChatGPT was mostly used in most of the universities. It's what most of them were using, like we can see from the evidence over there. I frequently encounter Bard, Snapchat, ChatGPT, Ask AI, Big, Bard, again, Questionnaire AI, but most of us as the lecturers use ChatGPT and Snapchat AI to support our education and learning activities. That was the quote from the students. Then theme two, we further engaged with the participants to show who use different AIs to handle different assignments, especially coursework, and do personal research. And the quote is, as you see, AI tools enable us to do quick research by providing specific answers to complex questions. This provides the opportunity for the students to gain further knowledge and gather more information from the lecturers, and by doing so, the connection with the lecturers is unified. That was that student's perspective. Then theme three was challenges first in applying AI. Despite the application, our results show that there are some challenges that limit its full adoption. These include ignorance about AI. It is very surprising that some of the lecturers or facilitators in the universities were very ignorant about the AI tools that students were actually applying. So it was a little puzzling, but that is what we found on the ground. While others were just conservative and they insisted that they will not use it at all, and others also we noted that there was increase in plagiarism and copycat syndrome among the students, and also loss of employment. We can see from the quotes here from the faculty member and from the student. I'm not going to read it. Theme 4 was impact of artificial intelligence tools on the quality of education in depth. Interaction with the students and the faculty shows that AI tools have a potential to promote quality education in Uganda and the world at large. To start with, it was noted that like ChatGPT could provide an opportunity for students to quickly do personal searches before and during classes. Others indicate the section of students illegally using these tools during examinations to get quick answers to different questions as they realize they just get the same questions, go to the toilet, use their phones, and they quickly get answers. Then they come back. I mean, it becomes very difficult since it's a fast tool. Um, yeah, and we can see that note there, a positive note. AI's personalization, this is from the student. AI's personalization potential provides an opportunity to better understand a topic even before attending classes, which contributes to enhanced learning experiences. But there are some students who illegally use it in examination rooms. That was a student. Theme 3, impact of AI effect on quality education. It's also important to know that the tools enable both students and lecturers to understand complex concepts, theories, and subjects by unpacking them in a way that is clear, conscious, and complete, and very fast. So, in this regard, it is appreciated by the students' community for boosting learning outcomes, efficiency, and productivity, especially the fact that the other resources in terms of papers, articles that are being bought online, they are not really free. So AI tools come in very handy to provide the resource. Though also still, a faculty member was also gave a response about the wrong information that these tools was providing that could end up misleading the whole system. In conclusion, contribution and recommendation. In this study, we intended to address the main research question. What is the impact of artificial intelligence on the quality of education in Uganda? This was addressed through the qualitative approach, in which it was found that students actively use a number of AI tools in the university. It also enhances students' efficiency and productivity. Given the fact that the earlier literature resources were expensive and difficult to access, these tools have helped in the efficiency and productivity of the student. However, AI tools usage was noted to bring about job displacement, limit the students' creative potential, and make them more lazier and copycats. That was majorly from the facilitators. They majorly complained about this rampant plagiarism in the area, so they weren't very happy to take on the AI usage. It is also evident that lecturers have limited awareness and interest in AI usage despite attracting the attention of the student fraternity. They felt like it is something that will make them lazy, no creativeness. They could not think. There was a lot of plagiarism that is coming on. At the end of the day, their attitude was so negative about taking on the AI. This study makes a contribution to existing literature and the intersection of artificial intelligence and quality education. As such, universities should provide robust training to facilitators, first of all, and they change their attitude because there is that gap. Then, obviously, I talked about this yesterday, strong internet connectivity is very paramount indeed. Then the government should also develop a policy to regulate AI usage, probably in the Ugandan sector or the universities themselves. Like lately, in this particular university, one of the universities, it is noted, though it did come out in this particular research, it is noted that turning in is a strict step before you hand in your work to check on plagiarism. Thank you very much for listening to me. I welcome questions. If there are any questions, I'll be very happy to address them. Thank you very much.
Questions?
Yeah, I do. When you ask the question of whether it's valuable to education or not, and so forth, I mean, it's really it's a tool, right? And we need to understand what it does and what it doesn't do. That's kind of what Dr. D was saying at the keynote yesterday. And if we sort those things out, then the application of it does become much more limited than what all of the hype and all of the marketing and sales stuff talks about. Because it's not. I mean, I object to it even being called intelligence at all. Sometimes I hear it called alien intelligence, or really, I mean, when you consider it a co-intelligence that you collaborate with to get ideas and so forth, that's great. But I really think that what's happened to ethics and responsibility and so forth, and that's what I was talking about in my talk, was that we got to do this from a very early age and not push it away, but acknowledge it, bring it in, and educate the young people on what it actually is and what it's not, and not to anthropomorphize it or consider it an intelligence until we get to artificial general intelligence. So, I mean, I've read studies for that from the U.S. Department of Education and the UK Department for Education and so forth. In Uganda, are they establishing, policies and ground rules and all of that at this point?
No, not yet, really, but in my university where I teach, Makerere University Business School, there is now a policy that before you hand in any of your coursework, plagiarism check is done, which wasn't there before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now that is a policy that has been introduced. We did not find out at the time when we did this research, we did not get that, because even then, most of our facilitators were ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
We asked them, have you heard about artificial intelligence tools? Then what is that you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, there is this, I've heard about it. I don't know, I don't want to use it. And, they actually did not know about the exact tool that even the students were using.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, not all the students also were aware, but the greatest percentage of the students were aware about the artificial intelligence than the facilitators.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was creating a very big gap
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Now that most of them are aware and they've accepted on how it is being used, yeah, either to create or to proofread or to do whatever they want to use it for. It is very hard now to establish, but at the moment, what I know, there is a policy on plagiarism which wasn't
Yeah.
there
Right.
before.
And the challenge is, how do you know something is plagiarized when it comes from AI? Because you don't even know if it's real sometimes.
You can know because it can tell you.
Oh, yeah, right.
You've used from ChatGPT, Gemini, or this. It can tell.
Yeah.
That this is not human. I think also that normal human can tell.
Can recognize it,
Yeah,
yeah.
they can
Well, it
recognize.
speaks to the fact that we need to have a greater human intelligence than this tool does,
Yes.
so that we could, because we always have to be the human in the loop and make judgments and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
One of the studies that I read for my talk, they surveyed teachers and students and so forth. I think this is what you were saying, is that the teachers knew very little and were reticent about using the AI, maybe 7-10% of them, where it was 67% of the students were actually using it. So the teachers and the students, really, the huge gap.
Yeah, there is a huge gap. Even in Uganda, same story.
Mhm.
Same story. And we felt like maybe the teachers, the facilitators should be trained.
Mhm. Right,
Yeah,
absolutely,
to be well ahead of the students.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's hard to do sometimes. Students are very clever.
Yeah, they are. But at least the gap
Yes,
should,
closes,
at
yeah,
least should be narrowed down.
narrow, right,
Yeah, but this one was huge.
yeah.
It was huge,
Mhm.
given the fact that they know most of the AI tools. They can ask. It is very, very difficult now for the facilitator.
Mhm.
For teaching in the very first place, because once you prepare your material, you go to class, they'll just use AI tool and they will fire you questions, probably just to check you up.
Mhm.
And you probably may have not concentrated on this area, but anyway, you as a teacher, you should be able to handle, but at least you should be aware that if these students are using AI to ask me this and this other question, I probably feed it in as well. Yeah. To just close the
Close
gap,
that gap.
or to understand how I can deal with such students.
Mm.
Obviously, in my opinion, the teaching has certainly changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the whole role and the whole level of education for teachers is shifting.
It's shifting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is shifting, and it is getting to that challenging position. So if you already challenged by the tool, so if you don't know about it, it's terrible.
Right. You're going to say, if I don't know about it, it's terrible, and you shouldn't use it. Right. And that's actually the worst thing to do, because it's not going to go away.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that is the major university also, because there was a debate on whether to ban it
Right.
or to just let it flow.
Yeah.
And most of them came to an agreement that AI tools are here to stay.
Right.
So we either jump in and go with the flow, or we shall become obsolete.
But I told a little story about, I was a naval officer and I trained in nuclear propulsion and in the mathematics and reactor physics and so forth. And I was there during the period when we switched from slide rules to calculators, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it made a huge difference in what teachers need to know and how much you know, quality analysis they could do on radioactive stuff if they had the calculator. Nobody really missed the slide rule afterwards, but there was always that group of people who just basically said, no, you can't leave. You know, what happens if you have no power, your battery goes out, or whatever. You know, it's all nonsense. So we just need to understand where it fits. You know, we had policies. You could use the calculator, but not a programmable calculator. So you couldn't automatically do things. You still had to, you know, know some of the mathematics behind it, but you didn't need to know all of the details about how a slide rule works. You know?
The sign and, you know, tangible, I remember tangent, the cosine.
Yeah, I remember teaching these students with this slide rule, like e to the d equals LL. E to the d equals LL.
Yes.
Very interesting. This is a really exciting time, really, for education.
There is a very big shift now. Obviously, if someone doesn't jump in, they'll become obsolete.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Listening to me.
I love both of your talks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and we will end off today's session. Thank you for joining.